spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If you haven't read the entire book, I don't even think watching it is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, this is part 2 of Fourth Wing discussion. So Violet's signet, which is
the lightning
wielder, right? Like, first of all, how badass of one is that? Like, you can control the skies. And I think it's cool that her mom is also kind of controls the skies, like with the storms.
The weather.
Like, that's her signet. So she kind of like brings wind, storm, whatever.
Yeah.
And so for her to be like that closely tied, because I think her sister's is
she extends the wards.
Yeah, so I thought that it's cool that, you know, hers is the lightning, her mom's also has to do with the sky, the storms, whatever. And then Mira's is the extending of the wards.
Yeah, she extends the wards.
She can like extend. I don't really understand how her signet really works, except
because remember she extends the wards, and remember there was a situation where she had to like in the moment create a ward for her, Brennan. So I do agree with what you said about the, you know, being her mom has a relative signet that's in the same field.
Yeah, like what does that really mean?
Yeah,
cool. Right?
I do think that is cool that her signet is the lightning thing because of the white streak in her hair, the silver one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that part. Yes.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
Silver one.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Taryn.
Yeah.
Can we give Taryn a moment?
Yeah.
He ate the whole book.
We need to give Taryn a moment. We really do. That's my nigga. Like, that's my ace boom coon. Like, what? Taryn. You know me saying Taryn. It's Taryn. I say Taryn.
It's Taryn.
I say Taryn. She listens to the audiobook, so she has all the other
I have the official ways to pronounce the book.
I say Taryn, and I think Taryn is cool.
Taryn, how do I say it then?
You said Taryn.
Oh, so it's, what did you say?
I say Taryn, because there's no Rin. Shut up. Shut up.
All right. So
Taryn needs his moment.
Taryn, that's my dog. Yeah. I fuck with Taryn. Yeah. First of all, I felt like his little banter was just hilarious through the whole book. Like,
you know,
I'm laughing just thinking about it.
It's like he was present but not present at the same time because you know he was like
he would just be in the background.
Yes,
she would just be doing something and he'll be like saying something slick, and I'm just like,
yeah. And then the reason why I liked it too, the way Rebecca did it, is that, like I said, he'll be in the background, but you wouldn't hear from him like all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says something, and then he's just like, silver one, you already know, like you know, like
let me know.
Yes,
I'll be on the
So, and it was just
call
funny.
Somebody like insignificant or something, like the insignificant one.
Yes, and he wasn't playing, like he was just like, fuck y'all humans, like he was just not playing. And then, you know, like he was just slick. He was slick. Like, you know, like when she'll be like, can you fly that fast? And he'll just be like, that's an insult to me.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, I am the dragon. Like I am the black dragon.
Like, what kind of question is that? So Taryn is my nigga. Like,
so, can we agree that he's like the strongest dragon? Is that what it is?
I mean, so far, right?
Because Melgan's dragon, I feel like, is strong, but he's the one.
I feel like he's top 3 because in the story, I feel like she does bring in other dragons.
But I feel like the black dragon is supposed to be one of the strongest, and he's a black dragon because they're like, oh my god, you got a black dragon. Remember when you not only got the black dragon, but you got 2 dragons. Remember? They said that to her after threshing or whatever that was.
But Melgan's dragon, I think, physically is bigger than Taryn.
Yeah, he's like physically bigger. But go ahead.
I have a question when it comes down to the signets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the writers' signets are powered by the dragons.
Yes.
So is it that they're actually powered by the dragons, or do dragons have their own signets too?
Wait, what?
Do dragons have signets that like they put onto their riders?
No. So the signet manifests out of the need. So you as a person, your signet will manifest based off of like what you like need, like what your subconscious is like needing the most, right? Like, you know, that's why, you know, everybody has their own kind of signet or whatever. And the dragons, though, they do have powers for themselves.
Yeah.
So they do have like their own powers, and they have magic, and they basically lent over that magic and that power over to the humans in order to fight what they were fighting back in the day, like those 600 years ago.
Got it.
Okay. So before, the humans didn't have any power.
Right.
And so they got with the dragons, and the dragons allowed them to, you know, use some of their magic and pull magic from them. And then we kind of find out later in the book that the venom pulled the magic from the earth instead of the dragon.
Got it.
So that's like the difference there.
Okay. Right? Cool. So what was like your favorite scene that had you like on the edge of your seat?
Oh, always the romance.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like a romance. Oh, no. I mean, other than the last scene. I mean, obviously,
with Liam,
Rebecca gives us like everything at the end, right? So we had the Liam at the end. We had basically the whole ending. So when they realized that they were kind of like abandoned at that place and the venom were coming, I was like eating up the book at that point. Like I was like, what the fuck is about to happen? Like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then Liam dying. Wow. Honestly, I kind of like shut the book at that point and gave it like a second. So I can't say that it was like I was at the edge of my seat at that moment, because I was like pissed that Liam died.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, but the romance ones got me at the end, because it was like so many times where I was like, I obviously know that Xaden and Violet's going to get together, but that it's like they're not together yet. Yeah. So like those little moments, I'd be like, yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it would happen or not happen.
Yeah. So one scene that really had me, well, I would say there's two. So the very first part with the parapet, that one had me at the edge of my seat. I knew that she wasn't gonna fall off because it was the first part of the book. Mm-hmm. But just the visual part of it had me like, what the fuck type of shit is this for a training? Like for the first part of a training. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that one did have me being like, what the hell? Because I was kind of like almost like low-key feeling it too, like just imagining that I was walking across this like super thin like bridge kind of thing, like, you know, beam that like if I fall I'm dead.
So well.
Yeah. So that part did have me on the edge of my seat just from the description itself. But one part, I do agree with your part though. I do like that part. But one part for sure was what you brought up earlier with Jaqen and Darna.
Oh yeah.
Because that one, like, it was like heartbreaking me on the edge of my seat, because I was just like, she's literally an innocent dragon, and they were surrounding her trying to plot and kill her. And then when they pointed out that Xaden was there, remember by the codex he couldn't interrupt. I forgot what the actual codex law was, but that one had me on the edge of my seat, especially because she's an innocent dragon. And then Violet came and was like trying to be like, fuck no. And I was nervous for her because it was 3 of them against her. So I just imagined.
She still kicked their asses.
Yeah. So I was just imagining like worst case scenario that they were probably just like, I don't know, maybe going to hold her back while one person killed and done like some bullshit like that. But at the same time, I was like, she's a fucking dragon. Like, how are they actually going to kill her? Mm-hmm. But because there was a storyline, I'm like, oh, hey, clearly there is a possibility that they could kill her because it was in the story.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? But you get what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I felt like they were describing Darna as small and like very like
but how unaware. Small could you think? Like, I feel like I asked you this before, but like how small in her size, not big dragon,
it was so hard to kind of picture how small, because I pictured, you know, the rest of the dragons to be in like huge, like they were saying like they're basically climbing their leg. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, obviously way bigger than a horse.
Yes.
You know, something, you know, more like a plane is what I was thinking. Like a small jet plane kind of like situation, or like a larger plane, like big, you know what I mean? And I think within Darna, I was having a little trouble with like figuring out how big she was visually. But I would think maybe like elephant size or 2 elephants or maybe something like that.
Okay.
Like something you could climb on, but it's still small.
So a full-size element? I mean element, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't thinking her being that big. Like, you know what scene I was thinking about? The scene where the writers were trying to kill her, where they're trying to kill Violet in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And then Andarna came and like froze time or whatever. But in that scene she described how Andarna burst through the door.
Yeah.
So I was imagining her like literally like about that size of a door.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that part.
Yeah. That's how I was imagining her because that's how she described it. Like that not really as
super small. That's so weird. That means that the baby feather tails are like really small.
Because the way she like burst through. So I imagine that she was able to, you know, like just be like I don't think she was smaller than the door frame, but about the size of the door frame. Like, because she was able to be like,
and I think it's just so interesting too, like now that we're on the topic of Andarna, how it's like time and time again you're reading Fourth Wing and there's so much you don't know about the dragons. They didn't even know feather tails were babies.
Who didn't know that? The humans?
Humans. That's why Jack was trying to kill her.
Because she was a baby?
No, because he thought that she was just a small dragon. Because they mentioned feather tails and they just called them feather tails when they were in the war room. You know, when they're kind of like having discussions and they're all studying the dragons and they mentioned feather tails.
As a what?
Just as a dragon. But they didn't know what anything was about them. So nobody knew that the feather tails were baby dragons. Nobody knew that.
So when do they not become a baby dragon? When do they not become a feather tail? So they're babies all the whole time? What do you mean by that?
What? No, they grow up and then they become a dragon. Like the regular, they get their color.
They thought that they were just a small dragon?
Yeah, they just thought that they were just dragon, like a type of dragon. Because remember, all the dragons
didn't realize that
different.
They grew into another dragon
when they saw don't have that much privy to the veil. Remember, they're all in the veil, so they don't have that much. They only go into the veil only to pick their dragon. They don't even go in there again.
Right.
Like once you have your dragon, you don't go back into that like veil area like that. I don't think.
Right. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So to me, I was like, it just showed me how much the humans don't know about anything the dragons got going on.
The dragons keep like Terrence be saying it to her. Like when she find out, that's one thing that another reason why I like Terrence and her relationship, because when she finds out other things, he'll be like, I'm sorry, I just couldn't say it. It was the dragons.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That like it's our thing. Like, you know? But yeah, so that was like one scene that had me on the edge of my seat. Was when they were trying to, and she killed the 2 friends in that scene.
Yeah,
because it was 3 of them. It was Jack and like 2 friends.
Them.
Yeah,
and Jack still didn't die.
Yeah, Jack was he's a fucking fungus.
A bacteria, a virus,
no, literally.
A parasite. Horrible. Notable quotes from Xaden. There's nowhere in existence you could go that I wouldn't find you. Violence. First of all, Violence, the little nickname.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cute. I was like,
yeah. See? Or Restore Me, he gave her a nickname too.
Yeah,
they're giving me the same energies.
I like it. It's cute.
It's a formula, but I'm here for it.
Right, because it works out. It's like it's not like to the T, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what else.
Yeah, I loved the nickname Violence. I thought that was really cool. Like when I first read it, I was like, "Oh, he's cute." Like, yeah.
So in Fourth Wing, so Fourth Wing, I still kind of am nervous, but in Fourth Wing, I definitely was still nervous that there was going to be some sort of traitor. It ended up being like Dane, but I wasn't really too concerned about Dane because Dane wasn't like her best friend. Like she was kind of vague, like over Dane because he was already annoying her.
Yeah, he wasn't even. She wasn't even telling him things most of the time anymore. Yeah.
So I was nervous that there was gonna be someone that she became friends with during the threshing, like during the whole training. That would have been a traitor. So, I mean, you don't have to elaborate on this, but was there anyone that, did you have that kind of feeling or no, you didn't at all? Like thinking that someone was going to be a traitor?
I had an inkling that it was going to be Dane. I didn't know the actual what was going to happen, but the way he kept, like, the way she kept describing how he was like acting with her. I had an inkling that he was going to kind of like mess up something because he didn't know, and he was like thinking he's protecting Violet. Like I could tell that's where it was kind of going, right? Yeah. But I didn't necessarily know, of course, that it was going to lead to that, and that's why I just can't stand him, because it literally led to the death of Liam. Like, wow. Like, talk about like actions have consequences. Like, you didn't think this through at all. You didn't have no kind of trust in her, and then she's the smartest person you know. That's where I couldn't take it. I'm like, this is literally the smartest person you know. And you know who believes in her little smartness? My boy Xaden. Trusts her. And knows her like 1% of the time that Dane's is on her.
Yeah.
1% of the time. Like,
he's on a different mentality. And then, you know, he went through a lot. And then, so no, going back to Liam, the death of Liam was tough. But you know what? Every storyline, they have to do some type of thing like that, you know?
Somebody has to die.
Someone has to die. Someone of, even if it's not like of a significance, because Liam wasn't so significant, like he wasn't so important. Let me say that. He wasn't so important as far as like his power, but he was important as far as like emotion. Because he was, remember, Xaden ordered him to be with her the whole time. So he was a regular character, just like Violet was, because he was following her the whole time. You get what I'm saying? So
and he was like a gentle giant,
right? So like, he was important in like what you said, like the emotional way, because she grew to like as much as she was annoyed in the beginning, she grew to be like, all right, well, this is just what it is. So like, you know, I gotta.
It was necessary too. I get it why Xaden did it, because she was
a target,
and she was technically weaker. Yes. You know, she really couldn't hold her own by herself. Time and time again, they were coming after her. Yeah. So I completely understand why Xaden did that. And I think that's what ends up leading. And I feel like in the next book, she's going to become even more like making sure that her shit's on point, because she doesn't want anybody to like be a liability. Like she be a liability for somebody else or something like that. Right. Am I saying it right? Yeah. Like, I think it made her kind of be like taking it a lot more seriously. She was already taking it seriously, but she's just like, I don't want anybody to have to risk their life to save me at this point.
Right. Right.
And she got, you know, losing Liam really put that shit in her life. Right. That was a lot.
Yeah. She, you know. You know what's happening right now.
He would literally be like right outside her room, like
right outside
standing,
the room,
guard.
Literally. Remember, you know what was so funny? When she first had the whole connection thing where she was talking to Taryn and feeling his stuff, and when Taryn and Sigel had sex and she sensed it for the first time, it was so funny because she was describing it. It was so funny because Rebecca was describing how, you know, Violet was feeling the craziness, but it had her feeling like woozy. And then she wanted to get some air. That's when she ran out and ended up running into Xaden. But in the midst of her running out, like Liam was like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Because she was probably looking at him with like the intense, like lustful eyes. Girl. And he was like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And she was just like, "Move." And that's when she, you know, ran outside. Yeah. But that little scene was so funny because he probably was like, "Bitch, the hell is wrong with you?"
Do you think that Sigel and Taryn feel it when Xaden and Violet are in high intense sexual moments, like the same way, do you think they feel it the way back?
I never thought about that. The only reason why I want to say no is because they're more
they could control it more, like they're stronger,
they're more,
they could block it out.
They're more, they could block it out, but they're more experienced. Mm-hmm. But that's not the word I'm trying to say. But they're more.
Oh, they've been with other writers before.
Right.
Like, what do you think about the aspect that a rider will die if the dragon dies, but the dragon won't die if the rider dies?
I just got goosebumps. I think that sucks. I think that both ways suck for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why the dragons don't die is because the dragons are like, they're useful in so many ways. One, they're useful because there's other creatures out there. So they can't just be killing off the dragons can't just be dying. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Because then that's going to decrease their population when there's actual creatures. Like, it's not just humans that the people have to fight. Like, there's creatures that the humans can't fight like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, without them. Then the other reason why I think it makes sense is because it's like what we said earlier. They fuel the signets of the riders.
Yeah.
So, again, if the population of dragons are going down, then the riders and their signets are never going to become manifested. So I feel like they are more useful. It's almost like men and sperm and like women. You know what I'm saying? Like, women, we can be pregnant for 9 months at a time, so we can only have a certain amount of kids at a time. Men can have kids every day. Like, they could fertilize every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's kind of like how the dragons are. Like, they have the ability to wield, like, help a rider wield their thing, but it's like the riders don't do anything for the dragon.
Doesn't do anything for the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with that. I think it's like almost I feel like it's more in the sense of the reason why it makes sense is because I think once they're bonded, a human to a dragon, I think that the life source of that human becomes the dragon. Like, their life is literally connected to the dragon, and that's why they get that power. So it's like it's not a two-way street, it's more of a one-way street.
Yeah. And then think about it. The dragons are the one that choose the riders.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense too.
Yeah. It does. So the quote that would go with that one is, "A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead."
Yeah. Literally that.
And I mean, they do talk about, like, they're still bonded emotionally, and it's a big blow for the dragon.
It is,
but ain't nothing like being dead.
No. So the ending of the book. So I'm going to paint this picture. Well, it's not even a really picture, but I'm just going to relive the moment. I was on the plane. I was flying back from, I don't know where I was flying back from. Mm-hmm. And I was reading in my Kindle. The last line of the book, I turned off my Kindle. I put it in the sleeve.
You were outside. Like, good night.
Bro, it was a good surprise.
It was amazing. It was
a great surprise.
Didn't see it coming.
So, y'all know Brennan. Brennan popped up. I got goosebumps again. But it just ended with Brennan, right? Like, they didn't go into detail with Brennan?
No. And then I think that they did do a little point of view from Xaden, though, for a second.
What's your thought about that?
So I just love that Rebecca kind of brought Brennan back in that moment. I felt like it was a perfect surprise. It got me. I was not expecting it, and I could kind of usually foreshadow and see shit. And I was pleasantly surprised. But then I was like, oh, she's about to be fucking pissed. Can you imagine that your brother's alive the whole time and you thought they were dead? Like, mourning.
That has gotta feel like,
yeah.
It's like a bittersweet feeling. It's like a bittersweet feeling because obviously you're happy that he's alive. But I think it's a weird experience to now think about how you thought he was dead this whole time or whatever you've been feeling and grieving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like, I feel like it's like a heartbreak.
Or to even watch everybody else too grieve. You were grieving. Yes, your mom was grieving. Your sister was grieving. Like, what?
I feel like it's low key like I feel like it's a heartbreak feeling, like almost like almost like someone you love getting in like the most ridiculous, terrible accident, and you don't know if they're gonna survive, and then they survive, and you're like, whew. So I feel like for her, it's like that time 10 because they thought he was dead for 6 years. 6 years.
Yeah, that's
and
a tough
And the fact
one.
that they even got away with that.
All right, so my rating of the book, of course, I'm gonna give this book a out of 10 or out of 5.
Out of 5.
Let's do out of 5. I'm gonna give this book probably a 4.4. 4.4 out of 5. Yeah.
Is the point out of 5 or 9? I want to know how far we're going.
No, it's out of like 9. Like it would have been 9 and then 5.
Got it.
Yeah, like a 4.4. Yeah, I feel like it was. I do feel like there were some things I didn't care for too much in Fourth Wing. And I do feel like when we talked about Jack, I feel like Jack Barlow's whole existence was very random.
Yeah.
And it was very annoying. And I feel like I feel like Xaden should have just taken him out a long time ago.
Yeah. But Xaden's not as careless as like, because like what we said, like people are dying left and right, and there's really no rule behind it.
Exactly.
But Xaden is like, I think he thinks that they're fucking animals because the whole relic thing. So I'm not gonna say bottom shelf because we know it's not bottom shelf, but middle shelf or top shelf.
I'm giving it a top shelf. Top shelf. I'm recommending it. Yeah, top shelf.
Yeah, I agree with the top shelf. I definitely would recommend it, like you said. As far as my scoring though, I'm going to give it like a 4.7. Ooh. And it was just written so well. Yeah. And I like how much time she took and spread out throughout the book for the threshing. So it just made it more believable for me too. Yeah. Like it wasn't like, there's probably was a couple parts where it was just like, for 3 weeks I've been doing XYZ that she was explaining, but there was still so much detail throughout the whole training, the whole school, that I love that. Like, it did take me a while to read the book, but to me, that's just how much was in there. Because I like to have my little breaks because there's so much details and it goes into so much like, depth to it. Yeah. So that's my opinion as far as how she wrote it, and then I do appreciate the storyline, and I agree with what you said about Jack Barlow. He could have just been flicked off. He was very unnecessary. Yeah, he just needs to be like gone. He was very unnecessary. The other characters, though, I feel like all the other characters were great. They had their purpose. She made them, she made them significant in their own little ways, whether they were big or small. Mm-hmm. I like the relationship that she built with Violet and Rhiannon, like especially in the very beginning, how she helped Rhiannon with the shoe.
We didn't get to touch on that one too much, but yeah, I did love their little bestie moments.
Yeah, and like you said with the whole Liam thing, like.
And what about? Oh my God, we didn't talk about from the scribe. She's deaf.
Jasenia.
Yeah.
Jasenia was pretty cool too.
Yeah, Jasenia was clutch.
Yeah, she was very clutch.
And we're gonna be ending it right here. 4 parts for Fourth Wing.
Yes.
See you later. All right. Of our fourth. Mallory, stop! You're making me die of laughter. I'm trying to be cool.